Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate your support. On this episode, I've got a two-pack for you. We're going to call it Stick With It. I'm going to give you a couple examples of being bottom tier and maybe starting out in not a really great kind of game, maybe having a hard time early on, but sticking with it, some things you can do to where at the end of the game you look at it and go, you know what, that actually turned out to be a pretty decent game, even though things did not look really good to begin with. So we're going to start off with the Schwarzpanzer Tier 8 Premium German Medium Tank. I'm going to be bottom tier in a 357 on this. Both of these will be Tier 8 games. The next one will be in the T92. So I've got 3 Tier 10s to contend with, a bunch of 9s, and of course all the 8s can hammer me pretty hard. We have loaded into Abbey right here. And on the southern spawn, I am headed over to the west side. So I have a couple options with the mutts on this one. You can go to the middle. I don't find a lot of success in the Abbey in the middle. There are so many crossfire opportunities and it's very easy, much like the hill on mines or the center part on mines. If you get up there alone and you don't have a lot of friends, you can be out of the game real quick. Plus it's difficult to get out of the Abbey sometimes, and all of these guys along here on this little edge and hiding in these little alcoves can really tear you up. Additionally, there are some shots over here onto the east side, but they're difficult to use, and of course the TDs can sometimes thread shots through the arches right there. Excuse me. You can also go over to the east side. That's problematic in a game like this with all of these TDs. Take a look at how many TDs there are. That's why I just said, you know what, I'm not going to go down the 8-9 line and get shredded by TDs. Plus, there is one arty on each side, and they can pretty much wreck just about anything down in here. In addition, the guys on the Abbey can now shoot down into there. It used to be not very easy to do that, but the map changed maybe a year and a half ago. And so this just whole area in here is very difficult to work. Very difficult. So I'm actually going over here where the heavies brawl. Let's get going, see what happens. And just add my annoying gun into the mix over here and see if I can find an opportunity to flank or get some harassing fire, maybe hold a corner, see how it goes. The bat chat comes in. Initially I was thinking I might dive into this little alcove right here, which is at this point here where my cursor is. But I see that the bat chat's probably going there, and when he commits right and heads right up in there, I know that that's what he's doing. So I'm just going to come up here and support him from this corner. The thing about a fast medium, or even a scout in the heavy brawling zones, is often you can get here first before the heavies get here, and that bat chat doesn't even know I'm here. So I'm just waiting for him to back up just enough to give me just enough of that little turret there, and I'll put a shot into him. You see that I'm running at like 390. Ping. My son is downloading something. That seems to be a theme lately for me. Every time I turn my computer on and he's home, there's 14 games updating on Steam, which drives me a little batty. Anyway, back to the action. You see that the WZs come up. I've got some more friends. T-34, the Badger. Over on the east side, something interesting is happening. They're really pushing into them hard. Now, if you're going to run the east side, that's how you do it, especially if the enemy doesn't put anybody there. Obviously, that makes it really easy to push up into it. But the mediums figured that out pretty quickly. But now you're starting to see what their problem is. You get to that opening, and the enemy's all stacked up there, hiding at their cap. It's very difficult to push in there. In addition to that, we don't really own the Abbey either, so they're sort of stuck there for a moment. I see that going on. I notice that there's not a whole bunch over here, and we have quite a stack of tanks. So I'm just going to be a bit aggressive. Hug the side of this and come up here and just, I'm now that harassing guy, right? I see this T-95. Now he has to deal with me. Am I going to wipe out a T-95? Well, it's going to take me a while to do so. And now what I'm doing is I'm kind of paying attention to when these two, the 110E3 and the T-95 fire. A little bit late noticing on the T-95, so I'm going to wait here. And I've got to shoot into this guy's hatch, so I'll just snap one. That doesn't work. I check behind me. I'm looking at the mini-map. What's going on back there? We seem to be all right. The T-95 is fired, so we'll go ahead and see if we can't thread one into his hatch, and we do that. Pretty good accuracy on the mutts. That's one of the nice things about this tank. So this position is nice and forward. It's pretty exposed, but I have a lot of guys behind me. The reason I'm here is all those guys who are keeping them honest back there behind me. I'm just trying to get in here and see if I can't get some shots. Another one into the hatch. Pretty lucky that. You'll notice that he was actually on a bit of a back slope, which is decreasing my angle a little bit, or increasing the angle a little bit. So kind of weird that I'm actually getting those in there, so no problem. Take a shot. I'm thinking I might be able to reload in time. And I do, so I get one more on him. He's probably super annoyed at this point. A couple of those are pretty lucky. I would have expected to get at least one of those in there, but looks like I've done 3 at least. Yep, that's my little counter down there, shows that 3 of those have gone in. And you'll notice now the guys are starting to push them up top. So part of the reason I was here is to keep them kind of busy and irritated with my buddies back behind me. Once we cleaned up on the top, now I can start to think about moving in on these guys and giving them heck. Now they've got to deal with me, and they've got to deal with the separate angle of the WZ 111-1-4, and you'll notice the Bat Chat's actually gone up around behind them, so now they're being attacked from 3 different angles. So I'm going to come in here and see if I can get a piece of the 110. Oh, try to dodge the 95, but I just can't do it. I wanted to go around him, and it looked like that 110 E3 had my number and was pretty much willing to take a hit to kill me if I tried to get around him, which is probably not a bad idea in his part. I'm using this wreck, which is actually part of the map, to hide my turret, because that 95 is going to go right through my turret, so I just want to make it as difficult for him to hit me as possible, and off we go. So 1,300 damage. Not doing an amazing job right now, but I'm just kind of sticking with it. And this is where this battle gets interesting, because you might say at this point, well, Guido, you guys rolled up on the east side. There wasn't really much competition over on the west side. They didn't do much with the middle that they owned, and it's pretty much just a face roll at this point. And it gets kind of interesting here, because our team does a really bad job of pushing into him. That was dangerous for me to sit there sideways even when I knew I was getting spotted. I probably should have just kept on going and did what I'm doing here, get a little bit of coverage. You'll notice that right away we lose 2 guys, then we get their 101, and I'm thinking, all right, this is kind of a push forward situation. We got the Bat Chat here. He's looking to get some spots, so I'm going to come up here with my turret, and then he gets hammered twice, 3 times, and goes down. And now it's more or less even, and they've got that big artillery that's hiding out back there. So I'm going to come up here and see if I can't get a quick shot. That goes right into the dirt, and right now I'm thinking, you know what? It's really not a good idea for me to sit here on this ramp. I'm trying to go face up with a JP2, which really reloads just about as fast as I do. Plus there's the big artillery sitting back there, and a T69, and a T28, a Bat Chat. You know, you've just got all of them stuffed in that corner, and me and my little mutt sticking my turret out there. So I'm going to come around here, and I'm thinking, you know what, I bet I know where one is, and yep, that's exactly where he is, and he's waiting for me, and I get hammered, and he hits, and I miss, of course. And now I'm down to 109 hit points. So we did all right. My initial position was okay. I was able to help the team at least a little bit, and now I'm thinking about this as I sit there, and I know that the last thing I need to be doing is hanging out down here. If I poke up on the JP, he's going to hit me. If I poke around the corner, there's the Bat Chat. The T28 and the T69 are probably thinking about pushing about right now, because the T34 is down to 1 shot. I'm down to 1 shot. There's the artillery. There goes the 111. He drove around the corner where the Bat Chat was and gets eaten alive. There goes our 152. There goes our T34. And my turret going crazy. So now I've got to just keep at it, right? Got to stick with it. I'm going to come back this way. We have a fight going on over in the east. That's where our power is. I can't really get over there to help them. If I did, I'd have to go all the way around back behind my cap. So what I'm going to do instead of that, instead of giving up this whole flank, is I'm going to come back around here and get up into these bushes and see if I can't find some shots, or at least keep the guys back here honest. That really helped when their Bat Chat killed himself by crashing. Not really sure where he did that. And now we are taking a look onto their cap, and what I'm looking for is that JP2, the 69, or the prototype, or even the Arty, if I can get a sight on them, to show themselves over here, maybe trying to push on this flank. And what I'll do is I'll try to get one quick shot on them to put some damage on them, back around the corner, go dark, and then skedaddle out of here. I'd really love to be over there helping the Leopard and the WZ and the Lorraine, but I just can't really get over there right now. And for the moment, keeping with it, I think the best plan is to sit here and see if I can't find them moving around. So the Leopard's taking on the WZ, the Leopard PTA, our Leopard PTA is helping them. And if they had any kind of organized push where they just brought that Proto, JP, and the 69 down to start taking on our guys, they might have actually had a chance to win on this. But the good news is we take down the Leopard PTA, and I'm just going to sit here with my whole 1,300 damage and my 109 hit points. And right now, it's most important for me to just see what's going on this flank. Let my team know that they're not coming from that direction, that they're probably still turtled up. Plus, I might get an easy shot or a free shot in here somewhere. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. There goes the T-69. So I'm going to take a shot on him and back right up. Do not get spotted. Oh, good. There's the artillery. Looks like the Leopard saw him. There goes this T-69 again. Put another shot into him. Here comes the Lorraine and the WZ. Shot into the artillery. See if the Leopard PTA can take him down. I tried a blind shot, but don't hit him. Or if I did, it wasn't enough to kill. I just don't think I hit him, actually. There's the prototype. Take him down. And now we've got this thing well in hand, right? Passive sat on the cap. They're too afraid to do anything. Shot into the object. I'm just going to courtesy move back because I really don't know where that 69 is. If he gets a little bit closer to me when I shoot here, he should be able to spot me. The question becomes then, what kind of crew did he have? Taking a look on where he is. He's probably still in that little indentation right there hiding. And you'll see that I just stuck with it. I'm up to 2,392 damage. A lot of it at the end. Made a couple bad decisions along the way that hurt me. My initial positioning was difficult based on the tier and the map, but I made the most of it. Look at that, it went right over his right over his turret. I think I'm going to drop one more on there for a little more damage. There we go. Another 200 damage. So 2,592, and I finally get my first points of assist in there at 64 points of assist damage for the spotting there. And it turns out to be a decent game, so I just stuck with it. Instead of giving up, instead of YOLOing, instead of trying to compound bad decisions with more bad decisions, you make a bad decision, find something else to do, reposition, try to be an asset to your team. All those kinds of things will help you just stick with it in your game. So let's move on to the T-92, and I'll show you an example of a scout bottom tier just sticking with it. Well, here we are on Proc, which is a scout's dream map. So many possibilities on Proc. I'm in my T-92 American Tier 8 light tank, bottom tier in a 357 once again. This time, though, there are 3 artillery on each side on a great big wide open map. You'll also notice that this is an encounter mode for this one as well. So lots of scouts in this map. If you take a look at it, we got a 92, we got a Hawk, a T-49, an RU-251, and a 13-105. So just scout-a-palooza right here, which means lots of view range. 3 options. One is to go over here and fight on the 1-2 line. A little bit difficult from the south side, a little bit easier from the north side. You can run the ridges, of course, or you can head up to the hill. I'm going to actually head up to the hill. One of the things I like to do is to come up to the edge and light up whatever's trying to get up there. Now this can be a bit problematic if the enemy has scouts, depending on their speed and positioning at spawn. It's possible that their scouts can beat you up there. And that is my dog scratching. This dog's gonna kill me, man. Alright, so I'm headed up the hill. Gonna look for the edge right there. And remember what I said. I said it can be problematic because the enemy scouts can actually beat you up there. Or at the very least, get there about the same time you top, and all of a sudden you got a problem. So I'm going to come up here thinking, yep, all right, let's go take a look. Oh boy. So it's in the autoloader, 13-105. He misses one. I try to slow down and not dive off. He blaps me for 381, and now I'm trying to get off this hill. This is bad too because of artillery. If they were kind of watching where I was, I get down into this slow area, I'm still lit, and they drop one on me. So I got kind of lucky. I'm glad that thing did not run over to the edge and take a look. And now I'm headed over this way. Someone's a moron. I don't know if he's talking about me. And so that didn't work, right? I couldn't get up there. Nobody on my team headed up there except for the FV. And that's an autoloader, which 2 more shots and I'm out of the game. So I'm going to head over this way and maybe start working the middle and see what we can get. Now I see the AMX sitting there looking for a shot. Very good. He just basically let himself get killed. I miss, of course, the kill shot, and I get lit by him, which kind of blew my mind, but there you go. And now I've got to wiggle and jiggle because of the guys on the ridge. If they see me because I was spotted, they might take a shot, a snap, or artillery if for some reason it's able to slide over and shoot. Now that that scout's gone, though, I've changed my mind, and now I'm going to head back up to the hill. So it's just a reaction to the situation on the map. Initially, I dove off because it just wasn't worth staying there. But this is a good development. It looks like we're going to be able to get up there and start working on the hill. The 110E4 is hanging off the backside, and he's the guy I want to start lighting for the guys on the 5-6 line and potentially for Artie, if Artie decides to take some shots on the back slope. And they can actually hit that back slope decently. The problem is the Conqueror and the M40-43 are really kind of out of position to do that over there. If they were all the way over on the 1-2 line, it'd be much easier. The FV clearly can't do anything about it. He's down in that pit right there. Conqueror's got good arc, so he may actually be able to do something with it. But initially I'm going to post up in this bush. I've got guys trolling around those two T-49s. So I'm just going to try to take some shots on these guys of opportunity as they rage around. Do a little bit of missing. I get a couple lucky shots in there. I don't think that one hit. So the 430 is trying to avoid getting erased by the 110E4. Those scouts are trying to light the 140 for the 110E4. And you've got me poking around at the scouts there. So now what I've got to do is I've got to start lighting this 110E4 because we need to start working on his hit points. There he is. That was a bad way to do it, just driving up forward and backing up. I had a reasonable expectation that Artie wasn't pre-zoomed there, but they certainly know I'm there now, so they may actually start looking on the hill. So probably a little early on stopping. I get away with it. No artillery comes in. That's why I move back again to try to move away from where I might have been seen when I stopped. You see that there's a 4502 Bravo that's sitting down there at about C8 or so. He's been sitting there on the back edge of that hill. There's some buildings and trees right there. It's an odd place kind of to be, but it's not unusual. By odd, I mean not a great place. I'm going to post up in this bush. What I'm looking for is maybe I can get this 110E4 to poke up, let the 4005 see him, and take a shot on him. Now we've got that 4005. He gets hammered by 4502 Bravo, sorry. The 4005 hammers him. All these numbers. Lisdexia. And I'm going to push back into the bushes right there. Not really a time to push at this point. You'll notice the Type 4 just drove up into the middle, and I was initially trying to use that to my advantage a little bit. That's a terrible shot. It's right behind him. Sort of just tried to snap one off. I was initially trying to use him as the potential to take some shots on maybe the 4502, but he died so fast there was really not much I could do. So now we're going to run this ridge. We're just going to come up here, but I'm going to keep moving. Tree's fine because I'm going to get lit by lighting that guy up anyway. And just keep moving. I do have to beware. There is a Centurion. You'll notice shots come in. There's one right there. There's a Centurion and a T-49. As long as I keep moving, that's going to make it more difficult for him to shoot me. In addition to that, I want to make it more difficult for artillery. There goes another one of them, so we even it up a little bit. Shot goes by. Unknown whether that was going at the 4005 or potentially just shooting into the bushes based on the direction somebody just been hit by. That guy needs to go. As soon as we can get him out, we'll be in a lot better shape. That shot never had a prayer. He backs down. There's some buildings right there. And now, so I'm going to get some lights there. And I kind of waited a little while before I come up here. Running ridges like that and lighting guys over and over is fine. But if you become too predictable, the artillery will be waiting for you. If you wait a little while, and sometimes you need to keep lighting them, but if you have some time to make them to wait a little while, then artillery will get bored and they'll move on and go do something else, or they'll see another target to shoot. It's when they're presumed when you're really going to be in trouble. I don't quite get to the edge enough to see them, so I'll just come back around for another go at it. Get a little bit closer, and there we go. He's lit up. Just kind of driving around. I think there's an artillery shell that comes in here pretty soon. Yeah, artillery hit behind me. Just trying to make it a little bit difficult. There's one right there. The 4005 is moving up. This becomes a problem here momentarily. Come around here, kind of paying attention there. Lit him up. Some turn in. Oh, geez. And I ram into him, and whammo. I get hammered by the 4502. Who just takes the opportunity of me being stopped, and now I'm down to 4 hit points. So this is the just keep at it, right? This has been a bit of a weird one for Proc. It hasn't fought exactly like, well, not exactly, but it hasn't been very much like Proc. I mean, we're all in the kind of the standard positions, but it's been very strange as far as very slow and not many tanks up front. The 4005, for whatever reason, drives off the edge there and ends up just dying. Somebody starts complaining about scouts camping, but this is more of a chess match on this game based on the way it's going. Now, this guy's a big problem. Lots of pretty good armor, and I'm just kind of plinking heat at him, which has no chance in heck unless I can get to the lower plate. And because of the angle, even then it's going to be hard. So now I'm just sort of lighting him up. I believe if I fired here, because of where I'm positioned in the bush, he'll more than likely see me, and I don't want anyone to see me when I'm highlighted on this ridge. I still don't know where the T-30 is or the RHM. It is an RHM, right? Yes. So they could be sitting back in the corner, maybe on the road crossing at B6 or so. And so this is exactly what I'm trying to do, is get him lit up for artillery or other tanks. Just keep an eye on him, and down he goes. So he takes a full hit point, heavy, and drives onto the cap circle and disintegrates. And that is what happens when there are that many guns in the game and they've got enough covered positions to fight from, especially if you're up on the hill or you've got artillery. Our T-49 is keeping an eye over on the west side. This is kind of something I did in that last game that we talked about, where there's really no one over there, but he's just keeping them honest, trying to find out where they are if he can. If they start moving around, he'll see them, and then he can bug out if he needs to. The 430 moves forward, and initially I was going to go with them right here, but like I said, I don't know where all of them are, so I just don't think that's a really great idea. I bounce off the Bloody Conqueror. There's the other artillery up in the corner. 430 gets nuked. I noticed that artillery late, so that's bad on me. I'm kind of standing there, seeing they're staring into nowhere. I believe he started moving, because I'm going to shoot once. I probably put one more into him based on the damage I see later, but that one obviously missed and didn't end up killing him. The 49, theirs, is running around in the open field. I'm just going to grab this bush for a second and start moving. And I'm going to carefully move up. This is something you'll see me do in scouts when I've got some kind of cover like this. Instead of just raging forward, try to move forward under the cover, get into the bush, let the binocs cook, and see what I can see. This is an advantage of having the binoculars. Quite situational. It's the reason I keep the binoculars. I would say that in general your optics are going to be more useful in more situations. I just happen to like the binoculars and the camo net just for that kind of gameplay. That's more interesting to me. So they're yakking at the RU, telling him, what are you doing? The T-49's a problem. All he has to do is splash near me and I'm done. I can't possibly, well, I can possibly, I was going to say, I can't possibly machine gun him down before he kills me. If he misses me by a mile, I might be able to do it. But he's full hit points. I see him. And I'm just going to dive off this hill because I really don't want to just dive at him. And now I'm thinking, well, he's probably going to come down here and try to take me out. Or maybe the RU, depending on what he can see. He actually misses, so it gives me an opportunity to take another shot on him. And I'm going to get back to this back slope, trying to hide from artillery as much as possible. I'm not really sure where they are. I see him running off that way, and now let's just go ahead and go up the hill. I'll use this low point here that I know is here to drive up the hill. Then I'm going to go to the red line. Use these little low points as much as I can. So I'm just sticking with it, right? 4 hit points, not really having a great game, but just doing everything I can to keep enemy tanks lit, get some SA, stay in the game, and try to be a part of the win. Got 1900 spotting and 597 damage. So I'm just going to let this happen, all right? There he goes. I'm going to auto-aim this dude, just come up and over, let it settle a little bit and shoot. That's one of the great things about this little gun on the T92. The moving accuracy, the moving dispersion is really good. I let it just zoom in just a touch and I'll take him down. The reason I'm futzing around here is I know that little ridge is right in front of me, and if the T-30 happened to be hiding on the back slope there, which was lit in that area, hopefully he's not able to come up and over and pop me. I'll go dark and then I'll move away. I do have to be careful as I'm running here with 4 hit points. If I come off a large enough ramp, I could damage myself to kill myself. Obviously, if you go off a cliff, you're dead, but even a hard landing off of like a jump or something could kill off 4 hit points and take me out of the game. So this is looking good. We got 2 guys on the cap. For whatever reason, the RHM and the T-30 are very timid or have just decided to let us win. And the T49, we don't see him. I'm going to come over here. I know these bushes here. This is that spot I was talking about where the 4502 was hanging out. There's quite a few bushes right here. But this is now, let's just pause it for a second. This is allowing me to watch this ridge right here in case the T30 or T49 or whoever wants to come over. We have the Artie's sitting right here. He's sort of spotting them coming over the middle. Not a great spot for him right there. And I don't know why the Artie is where he is, although I suppose he's one of the three that's on the cap. He's sitting right there. So we don't have good coverage. I would have really preferred maybe the RU kind of looking around on the edge right here or potentially watching the back end. But with these guys kind of out in the open, they can see that as well. So it's not the best way to cover the approaches, but we do have them more or less covered as we're waiting. And like I said, I was very surprised I did not see the T30 or somebody at least poke up over and try to sort this out. We end up winning there. 705 damage, 2,436 spotting damage with 1 kill. Not the most amazing game, but I just stuck with it. Made a couple bad decisions. From there, just tried to recover, do the best I can with what I have. And what I'll say is, in both those games, if you can start to learn how to last to the end of the game, however it is you get there, ideally with more hit points, vice less, but even if you can just be at the last part of the game, then you have an opportunity to influence the game. And as long as you have an opportunity to influence the game, you have an opportunity to potentially win the game. And that sounds like really just stupid common sense stuff, but if you look at your survival rates or you look at how long you last in games and you've got good damage but you end up dying midway through, that's going to hurt your win rate at the end of the day. So be careful about trying to camp just to make yourself survive. That's not what I'm saying. Guido said you need to be at the end of the game, so sit in the corner. No, that's not what I mean. You just got to keep at it, man. Just keep at it. All right, that is all I got for this 2-pack. Hope you guys like what you saw. Hope you learned something along the way. If you did, make sure you what am I trying to say? Subscribe to the channel. See ya.